Hey everyone, welcome back to Anime Octopus, where we dive deep into the untold stories and alternate realities of your favorite anime. Today, we're continuing one of our most intriguing theories: what if Naruko kept her Sharingan hidden? Part 2. If Part 1 had you questioning everything you knew about the Naruto universe, Part 2 is about to take it even further. We're talking secret abilities, unseen consequences, and a version of Naruko the Leaf Village was never prepared for. Disclaimer: this content is for entertainment and discussion purposes only. I do not own any of the anime footage used in this video. All rights and credits go to their respective creators and copyright holders. Let's get into it. Naruko's encounter with Danzo. Naruko approached the door calmly after activating her unique bloodline technique. Upon opening it, she was greeted by an Anbu agent. What set him apart was the word "ni" engraved on his mask. Root, huh? I wonder what Danzo wants with me, Naruko mused with a composed expression. The Anbu responded, I was advised not to be surprised that you already knew about the organization. My name is Torune. Danzo-sama has requested I personally escort you to his residence. Alright, Naruko replied coolly. She made a hand seal, and a soft clicking sound echoed, as though a security system had been activated. A precautionary measure, she said, as one of her lances materialized, its tip marked with ink. Always wise to stay one step ahead. Let's go. Torune was momentarily taken aback. She detected Sai's presence. But that shouldn't be possible. He's the most skilled operative we have in stealth techniques. Shaking the thought away, Torune gently placed a hand on Naruko's shoulder, and the two vanished in a flicker of motion via sunshine. Danzo's residence. Naruko and Torune arrived before the heavily cloaked and bandaged Danzo. Welcome, Rutaxan-san, Danzo greeted in his usual formal tone. Guards, please give us privacy. As the room cleared, Naruko looked around. A bit dim for my taste, but it suits your preference. Now, shall we discuss business? Straight to the point, I see, Danzo acknowledged. I would like to invite you to join the Root Division. Someone with your talents would be an invaluable asset. Naruko replied thoughtfully, so what you're really saying is that you're aware of the truths hidden from you by the Hokage, and by recruiting me, you gain both access to those secrets and the ability to influence what others cannot. Not to mention a certain power that resides within me. Danzo remained stoic but mentally noted the sharp insight. That's quite the assertion, Rutaxan-san. I assure you, I have no intention of controlling that power. Naruko narrowed her eyes slightly. Oh really? Then the Sharingan eyes you obtained from the fallen Uchiha. Along with the unique cells in your right arm. All just coincidences? Danzo's expression remained impassive, but he was clearly evaluating his next move carefully. Let's not dance around the subject, Naruko continued. I won't expose your secrets unless you pose a threat to my friends. We both know that our goals align, to ensure the Hokage steps down. He lacks the strength and clarity to lead. So here's my offer, stay out of my path, and I'll stay out of yours. I know you've taken measures to ensure you remain influential. And you don't want anything to happen to your daughter, correct? Danzo's single visible eye widened slightly. I've gone out of my way to prevent the Hokage from learning about your connection to her, Naruko said. But I need you to stop meddling if you want me to continue keeping that knowledge under wraps. And despite all your efforts to suppress emotions, I know you care for her. As Naruko turned to leave, Danzo finally asked, Naruko. Does she know anything? I'll let that slide. And no, she doesn't. Should I tell her on your behalf, Danzo-sama? Danzo paused. No. It would be better for her to remain unaware, at least until I've fulfilled my goals. But that earlier remark. You wouldn't harm her. I can see in your eyes that you care for her too. Naruko gave a small smile. That makes two of us. I could say the same for you. You looked ready to challenge me just for suggesting it. She has your brilliance and intuition. Danzo allowed a rare smirk. That's something I've known for a long time. Please. Look after her. I will, Danzo-sama. Just don't get yourself in trouble, Naruko replied, vanishing in a shimmer of light, her unique teleportation technique leaving no trace except a distant glimmer. Danzo looked at the wall, contemplating quietly. It seems she may have recreated the Hiraishin. She might truly be the right person for her. He picked up a kunai and tossed it with surprising grace, pinning a bothersome insect to the wall. I'm sorry I couldn't be there for you. 1010. Hayate residence. I can't believe I leveraged Ten-chan's safety like that. Especially with her own father. Am I truly that cold-hearted? Naruko questioned herself. No, you're simply used to dealing with delicate matters through pressure and secrets, came a familiar voice in her mind. Tomomi. You haven't visited much, Naruko. Have you forgotten about me? The voice asked playfully. How could I forget the one who stood by me all these years? Naruko replied, smiling. Tomomi giggled. You always say things like that. But you've been distant. Naruko shrugged. I've been occupied. But what can I do for you now? There's something important. In about 6 months, I will enter a unique phase. Naruko raised a brow. Will it affect me too? Yes, Tomomi said softly. If it's not resolved, you may become overwhelmed by the connection we share. Naruko paused. So, are you asking for my help to stabilize it? Tomomi nodded in response. All right, Naruko agreed gently. Let me know when the time comes. Thank you. Naruko, Tomomi whispered. Their connection faded, leaving Naruko deep in thought. A knock on the door pulled her from her musings. She opened it, and instantly sidestepped a swift, elegant katana strike that barely missed the floor. Oh no. That's going to scuff the wood, Naruko sighed. The sword belonged to Kushina Namikaze, who appeared anything but pleased. I came here to confront you, she said firmly, for threatening someone I cared deeply about. Naruko's tone remained casual. If this is about earlier. I never actually hurt anyone. You're taking this awfully personally. You crossed a line. You put my daughter in danger. I only made it clear what would happen if someone endangered my friends. That's very different, Naruko clarified as she calmly exited the house. Come on. I'd rather not damage Yugao Nichin's furniture. Let's settle this outside. Training grounds, Area 14. Standing in the center of the field, Naruko held a uniquely crafted sword, shaped like a key. This is the Kingdom Key. Elegant, isn't she? Once wielded by a warrior named Shion. She wasn't a being like the rest, she was created from memories. A manifestation of the heart. Kushina narrowed her eyes. Enough stories. You disrespected my family. Naruko sighed. I never intended to cause harm. But I won't allow threats to my loved ones either. Let's make sure this doesn't escalate. Kushina tightened her grip on her blade. You always act like nothing matters. Naruko met her gaze steadily. That's not true. I simply don't wear my heart on my sleeve. But I care more deeply than you realize. And I will protect those who matter to me, always. On second thought, I take that compliment back. I gave you too much credit to begin with, Kushina said, launching herself at Naruko, who quickly intercepted the strike with a smooth block. Ooh, I admire a fast and determined woman, Naruko replied with a lighthearted grin. Kushina narrowed her eyes and pushed forward with renewed effort, causing Naruko to slide backward before gracefully twirling away from a downward motion. Kushina spun mid-air, aiming a well-timed kick at Naruko's chest. However, Naruko caught her foot mid-strike and redirected her momentum, guiding Kushina toward a nearby tree. Kushina rebounded from the trunk with remarkable agility, her feet barely making a sound as she charged forward, boosted by chakra. Naruko shifted just in time to avoid a direct clash. That had to sting a little. You all right there, young lady? Naruko called out playfully as Kushina emerged from the small impact crater she'd left behind. Don't mock me. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Kushina called out as a duplicate appeared beside her. She extended her hand, while the clone began channeling chakra, swirling it with skill. Interesting. Only one hand sign needed, and that's fear. No doubt it's the Rasengan, Naruko thought as she observed. Quite the technique, Lady Namikaze. Here it comes, Rasengan. Naruko calmly closed her eyes, then reopened them glowing with a fiery hue. Tailed Beast Sonic Echo. She announced. A wave of focused energy burst forth from Naruko's voice, disrupting Kushina's jutsu and gently forcing her back to the ground with controlled force. That's enough, Naruko said softly, flashing forward in a blur of speed. Kushina staggered slightly as a delayed rush of wind passed over her, signaling the depth of Naruko's restraint and skill. Naruko stepped forward and offered a hand. You did well. Let's call it a draw for now, she said kindly, helping Kushina up. Later, the two made their way back, and though Naruko supported her gently, the townspeople looked on quietly. Not from fear, but from respect. Arriving at the Namikaze residence, Naruko carefully helped Kushina to rest on the porch. Moments later, Tokiko opened the door, gasping softly at the sight of her mother being helped by Naruko. I didn't harm her. She just needs rest, Naruko said. Next time, Try to talk things through with her instead of letting emotions take over. She's important to you, and I can see she cares. Tokiko looked down, fists clenched. Why are you helping us? Naruko smiled gently. Because your family still has time to heal. A child deserves to grow up with guidance and love. With that, Naruko vanished once again in a flicker of movement. Tokiko stared at the empty space with resolve growing in her heart. She turned and gently closed the door, whispering, I'll find a way to bring peace back to our family. Hayate residence. Naruko arrived quietly and reached for the door. Just then, a familiar voice called out. Naruko-chan. She turned to see Mikoto Uchiha standing nearby. Mikoto-sama, is something the matter? Naruko asked politely. I'd like to speak with you in private, if you have a moment. Of course. Come in. Just be careful, the floor's a bit worn out in some places, Naruko replied, opening the door and guiding her inside. As Mikoto settled into a chair, Naruko went into the kitchen to prepare some tea while patching up a few floorboards. So, what did you wish to discuss? Naruko asked, working with steady hands. Mikoto hesitated. When you told me about my late husband's secrets, was there something you needed in return? Naruko paused thoughtfully, then nodded. Yes, there is something. But it's not what you might think. Mikoto blinked. You don't want anything inappropriate? Naruko smiled, slightly amused. Not at all. What I want is your help, protection, specifically. For Ayane Uchiha. I'm worried about her safety. Ayane? Why her? Naruko's tone grew serious. Have you noticed Sasuke's changes lately? Mikoto looked down, sighing. Yes. The council's influence and Fugaku's pressure have made him distant. I've noticed that he often challenges Ayane and uses her kindness to get what he wants, Naruko explained. With him being on the same team and under certain instructors, I fear she could be placed in harm's way. That's why I need you to keep her safe. Mikoto's eyes softened. That's all you want? Yes, Naruko replied. You're a strong and compassionate woman, Mikoto-san. Ayane needs someone she can count on. Mikoto stood up and approached her. Thank you, Naruko-chan. You've done more for me than many others ever have. She gently placed a kiss on Naruko's cheek. The moment was brief, sincere, and full of gratitude. Naruko blushed, a little surprised. Thank you for trusting me. There's one more thing, Mikoto said, turning serious again. Do you know why Itachi did what he did? Naruko nodded slowly. Yes. Certain village elders made decisions that forced his hand. He tried to protect the innocent as much as he could. He left you and Sasuke because he loved you both deeply. Tears welled in Mikoto's eyes. So, the truth is more complicated than we were told. Yes, Naruko said softly. But revealing everything now could cause more harm than good. Sasuke still needs time to grow, to understand. Mikoto looked into the distance. Thank you, Naruko. For your honesty. And for your kindness. Naruko nodded respectfully. Always. Your late husband, along with a few others, was involved in a secret plan to challenge the authority of the Hokage, Sarutobi explained in a calm tone. Upon hearing whispers of this, I sent Itachi to investigate, trusting his loyalty to the village and to Sasuke. When the truth was confirmed, we had to intervene. Some attempted to harm both myself and Danzo, but we managed to stay unharmed. Danzo later used the opportunity to preserve the Sharingan of those involved by embedding them into his arm. Mikoto nodded solemnly. Although they were my family, I can understand Danzo's reasoning. The Sharingan is an incredibly powerful tool. Exactly, the other speaker added. In my opinion, Danzo was within his rights. Mikoto hesitated, then asked, will he try to hurt us? Only if given a reason to, like endangering the village, came the reply. He knows I could pose a threat too, but I wouldn't risk my friend's well-being. I understand. Thank you for being honest with me. I'll do what I can to help you. Thank you, Naruko said with a smile. But please be careful. I wouldn't want you to suffer for trying to support me. Mikoto gave a respectful nod and departed quietly. Naruko, feeling the weight of the conversation, retired early to prepare for another day as a kunoichi. Training Ground 44, Naruko and Anko. From a higher perch, Naruko observed Anko sparring with one of her shadow clones. The clone managed a decent strike before it dissipated, transferring the experience back to Naruko, who appeared on the field with an impressed expression. I didn't realize you were that flexible, she commented. I didn't realize you could use the shadow clone technique. When did you learn that? Anko asked curiously. I'll tell you later. For now, shall we continue? Naruko summoned her lance into her hand and readied herself. Anko brought out a scroll, releasing a segmented broadsword. A whip sword? This should be fun, Naruko grinned. Anko launched the weapon with precision, forcing Naruko to evade and close the distance. They clashed weapon to weapon, sparks flying as their skills collided. They exchanged blows, Anko's sword grazing Naruko's cheek and Naruko's lance slicing lightly across Anko's face. Impressive, Naruko remarked. Anko smirked. You're not so bad yourself. The spar escalated until Naruko hurled her lance, which seemingly struck a figure that turned out to be a clone of Kakashi. The weapon vanished as the illusion ended. Naruko sighed. Knew he'd try to sneak in eventually. That was just a backup clone. What did you do to it? Anko asked. Nothing serious, Naruko replied. Just made sure he gets the message not to spy on my training sessions. Anko chuckled. You know Kakashi doesn't take well to surprises. Just then, the alarm sounded. Naruko turned toward Anko and said, looks like our session's over. See you soon, Anko-sensei. Council meeting. Naruko entered the room calmly, noticing several disapproving glances. Kushina sat bandaged, while Mikado offered a small, reassuring smile. The Hokage maintained a neutral expression. What is it now? Naruko asked, raising an eyebrow. Another unpaid mission you want to complain about? Koharu interjected, we were informed that you used a restricted technique. Care to explain? Certainly, Naruko replied. I wasn't paid for my B-rank mission. According to a precedent set by Lord Tobirama, if a ninja isn't compensated, they may claim a technique of equal value. The shadow clone is classified as B rank. Homura frowned. You are hereby forbidden from using that technique. Naruko simply raised a hand and shrugged. And how exactly do you plan to enforce that? One of the civilian council members shouted a harsh insult, but before more could be said, Naruko created a shadow clone, whispering instructions to report the misconduct. The clone vanished without confrontation. Now, Naruko continued, let's return to the real reason I'm here. Danzo spoke up. You were seen escorting an unconscious Kushina Namikaze. That is serious. I have proof, Naruko stated, revealing a small audio device that replayed her conversation with Kushina, proving she was acting in defense. Koharu grew visibly uncomfortable as Naruko calmly added, according to your own guidelines, she'll need to retrain her daughter in a proper taijutsu form for 3 months. No shortcuts. Kushina clenched her jaw. I agree to the terms. Great. I'll be watching to ensure it happens. See you at Training Ground 14, Naruko responded, before heading out. Mission assignments. Over time, Naruko had completed numerous D-rank missions, though her efforts were often disregarded by biased clients. To compensate, she studied and learned several new techniques, such as Meigen, Narakumi no Jutsu and Doden, Shinju Zanshu no Jutsu. Eventually, the Hokage assigned her C-rank missions alongside Anko, who had also grown frustrated with unfair treatment. During one mission, Anko gently reminded the team why Naruko had advanced faster. She's experienced. You two have potential, but you're not there yet, she told Sasuke and Sakura. Hokage's office. Team 7, minus Naruko and Anko, returned exhausted, having completed another task involving the elusive village cat, Tora. Shortly after, Anko kicked the door open and entered with Naruko by her side, reporting the successful completion of their C-rank escort. Was that really necessary? The Hokage asked about the dramatic entrance. Always, Naruko replied, smiling. Sasuke, irritated, declared, this is unfair. I want a C-rank too. Anko handed Naruko a small sum. Told you he'd say it first. Iruka tried to reason, Sasuke, you haven't met the required number of missions yet. But Naruko hasn't either. Sakura protested. I have, Naruko corrected. But due to bias, I was denied payment. As compensation, I studied and claimed equivalent level techniques. That's why I was approved. Sarutobi nodded. Sasuke, I'm sorry. C-rank missions require demonstrated experience. Naruko added teasingly, let him do it, or he'll just complain to the council. Eventually, Sarutobi relented. Very well. But Naruko and Anko will accompany you. Mission briefing. Kazuna entered, unimpressed. You're the ones assigned to protect me? Naruko stepped forward, voice calm but firm. You hired shinobi for protection. If that's a problem, we can always cancel. No. I suppose not, Tazuna said. As the team headed out, Sakura asked, Is your country peaceful? Tazuna hesitated. More or less. Kakashi interjected. Wave has no ninja village. The 5 great shinobi nations each have their own, but smaller nations rely on external support. They passed a mysterious puddle. Kakashi glanced at it, then dismissed it. Suddenly, 2 figures emerged and launched an ambush. Naruko reacted quickly, countering with her lance to neutralize their weapons. Sasuke and Tokiko followed up with a swift combo attack. Just as it seemed someone was in danger, Kakashi reappeared, having never been caught in the first place. Was that really necessary? Naruko asked, clearly unimpressed. Tazuna looked sheepish. I couldn't afford higher protection. My homeland is under threat by a powerful tycoon named Gato. He presents himself as a businessman, but his influence over the region has been unjust. Kakashi sighed. This changes everything. This is an A-rank mission now. The team continued forward, but Naruko and Anko exchanged concerned glances. Tokiko approached Naruko. Are you okay? Naruko gave a soft smile. Yeah, just thinking. We'll be fine. Yeah, I'm all right. Let's go, Naruko said, snapping her fingers. Instantly, the lance disappeared from Sasuke's hand as she gave him a confident smile. The group walked along the road after arriving on the island by boat. Suddenly, Sasuke heard a noise from the nearby bushes and quickly threw a shuriken. Naruko. Kakashi began, but Naruko rolled her eyes as she gently retrieved a harmless white rabbit from the brush. Looks like Sasuke was right, someone is here, Naruko thought, then said aloud, Well done, Uchiha. Here's your shuriken back. Kakashi narrowed his eyes. A white rabbit? But it's spring. Odd. Naruko handed the rabbit to Tokiko. Just then, a familiar whistling sound filled the air. Everyone, down, Kakashi shouted, pushing Tokiko and Sasuke to safety. Anko did the same with Sakura, while Naruko leapt high into the air and landed on a spinning blade with grace and agility. The blade embedded itself into a tree. A tall figure emerged, dressed in blue pants, camouflage gear, bandages over his mouth, and a scratched-out Kiri headband. You're the first person to ever land on my blade. Most just dodge it. What's your name, kid? Name's Rutaxan. Also known as the 13th ninja. You must be Zabuza Momochi, the one they called the Phantom of the Mist. Still chasing ambitions, I see? Zabuza grinned. Yes, and unfortunately, that means I need the bridge builder out of the way. Kakashi stepped forward. That's not going to happen. Zabuza turned his attention to Kakashi. Ah, Sharingan no Kakashi. No wonder the demon brothers failed. But I didn't expect you to bring the 13th ninja too. Sasuke blinked. 13th? Zabuza chuckled. You don't know? That young lady over there carries all kinds of weapons that appear from nowhere. She took out 7 bandit camps and left only 1 witness each time to spread the word. Not a single mark on her. Listed as C rank, but clearly more capable. Sakura quickly snapped, whatever. Sasuke-kun is way better than that weirdo. Naruko, unfazed, walked past Kakashi. I'll let you handle this. You might want to use that Sharingan now. Kakashi glared at her but said nothing as Zabuza retrieved his sword from the tree and stepped forward. He's gathered quite a lot of chakra already, Kakashi thought. Hidden mist jutsu, Zabuza declared, and thick mist enveloped the area. He's gone, Sasuke shouted. He'll come for me first, Kakashi warned, he's a master of silent combat. Stay alert, do not drop your guard. Zabuza's voice echoed eerily through the mist. So many vital points. Lungs, spine, heart. Which one should I choose? Kakashi swiftly used a chakra technique to neutralize the intense pressure Zabuza was projecting. Naruko was unaffected, but the rest of the Genin were clearly shaken. This pressure? Sasuke thought, gripping his kunai. Just standing here feels overwhelming. This is what it's like when elite ninja fight. It's suffocating. Stay calm, Sasuke, Kakashi said. I won't let anything happen to my team. We'll see, Zabuza's voice answered. Suddenly, Zabuza appeared in the center of the formation. Kakashi pushed everyone out of harm's way and struck Zabuza, only for him to vanish into water. Water clone? Kakashi realized, turning just in time to see the real Zabuza launching an attack. Kakashi was struck, his body split, then vanished in a splash. He copied my move? Zabuza thought in disbelief. But suddenly, a kunai pressed against Zabuza's neck. It's over, Kakashi said from behind. Impressive. You used that clone to distract me and waited for the perfect moment. Not bad. But another Zabuza appeared behind Kakashi, finishing the sentence, still, I'm not that easy to catch. That's another clone? Tokiko shouted. Kakashi dodged Zabuza's blade and was kicked into the lake. He's strong in hand-to-hand combat too. Sasuke observed. Kakashi struggled in the water. Why does it feel like this water is resisting me? Water prison jutsu. Zabuza trapped Kakashi in a sphere of water. You fell right into my trap, Zabuza smirked. She has a point, Naruko sighed. Kakashi-sensei, hiding in water against a water-style user wasn't exactly brilliant. Anyway, I guess it's my turn now. Water clone technique. Zabuza summoned more clones. Sakura shouted, stop trying to show off, Naruko. What makes you think you can beat him? Naruko remained calm. Anko, handle the clone near the shore. Sasuke, Sakura, Tokiko, protect the client. Kazuna-san, don't worry. I've got this. Wind swirled around Naruko as her weapons appeared. What should I pick? Ah, this one. She selected a massive tomahawk sword. This is the Sky Splitter, once used by Lexaeus, a warrior known as the Silent Hero. He could manipulate Earth with it. That's a fascinating technique. You'll like it even more. Now use a clone to avoid interruptions, please. Zabuza complied, and Naruko infused the blade with chakra, making it glow faintly green. She stabbed the ground, creating a trail toward Zabuza and launched a rock projectile. Zabuza dodged, then blocked her next slash. Good form, he admitted. Fighting rogue ninja and training with blade users teaches you a lot, Naruko responded with a confident grin. They exchanged attacks in a rapid series of strikes. Naruko ducked, spun, and parried like a seasoned warrior. You're skilled. But I've wielded swords longer. True, but I'm faster, and I won't give up that easily, she shouted, launching a chakra wave. Zabuza dodged again, but Naruko threw her weapon like a boomerang. He jumped, only for it to curve behind him, forcing him to switch places with his last clone. Kakashi was freed in the process. Looks like our duel ends here, for now, Zabuza said. I look forward to seeing how much stronger you become. With that, he vanished into the mist. Naruko let her weapon fade and knelt on the water, catching her breath. On shore, Kakashi approached, clearly frustrated. I gave you a direct order, he said. You're not my superior, Naruko responded calmly. And frankly, your earlier decision nearly got everyone hurt. I did what had to be done. You're just a Jonin. And you're a Jonin who walked into a trap. Had I not stepped in, you might still be trapped. Let's not play the blame game. Kakashi scowled. We'll talk later. You're welcome to try. Kazuna stepped forward, clearly impressed. Incredible work, Naruko. I was wrong about you. Thank you, sir. Sakura huffed. I still think Sasuke-kun and Kakashi-sensei could have won easily. And yet Kakashi was caught, and Sasuke froze, Naruko pointed out. That battle was my limit. Any longer, and I'd have lost. I've never used that weapon before. But I look forward to the rematch. Just how powerful is she? Tokiko thought in awe. Kazuna's house. Tsunami-chan, I'm home, Kazuna called out. Welcome back, father. And it seems you brought company. A kind-looking woman appeared. Yes, these are the ninja guarding me. Tsunami bowed. Thank you all for protecting my father. It's our pleasure, Kakashi said. I'm Kakashi Hatake, and these are my Jonin, Tokiko Namikaze, Sasuke Uchiha, and Sakura Haruno. I'm Anko Mitarashi, Anko added, and this is my student, Ritaxan. We'll stay until the bridge is complete, Kakashi explained. Nobody can stop Gato. You're all wasting your time. A boy in green overalls and a yellow shirt stood at the entrance. Inari, Kazuna exclaimed, hugging him. Welcome home. Grandpa, Inari mumbled. Be polite, Tsunami scolded gently. But mom, it's hopeless. No one can beat an Uchiha except another Uchiha, Sasuke added confidently. Yeah, Sasuke's the strongest Jonin in our village, Sakura chimed in. Kazuna glanced at Naruko. Funny, it was Rutaxan who fought Zabuza while those two just stood frozen. Naruko shrugged. Hashirama Senju defeated Madara Uchiha, considered the strongest Uchiha ever. Your brother might be close to that level, but even legends fall. Sasuke clenched his fists in annoyance. I'm going to the ocean, Inari muttered, heading upstairs. He's been through a lot, Tsunami said softly. I understand, Naruko said gently. Who did he lose? Kazuna and Tsunami both paused, slightly startled, as Naruko gestured toward the torn photograph. The picture. There's a corner missing, she observed thoughtfully. It looks like it used to show someone important. From the expressions on your faces, he must have meant a lot to you, perhaps a father figure? I'm guessing he was one of the few people who tried to stand up to Gato and paid a price for it. Tsunami responded softly, his name was Keiza. He was a true inspiration. Kazuna nodded. Inari met him first, after Keiza rescued his dog, Pochi, from drowning. Inari was so impressed with him, they quickly became close. Every day, they went fishing together. We were happy. It felt like Inari had found someone he could really look up to. Tsunami smiled gently, recalling the memory. I eventually fell in love with Keiza. We became a family. He even helped save our island during a fierce storm. But then Gato came. And Keiza was the only one brave enough to confront him. Gato had his hired men capture Keiza and hurt him terribly. They humiliated him in front of the town. Inari was there. And ever since, he struggled to believe that anyone can stand up to Gato. Naruko looked at the bridge Tazuna was building and spoke with admiration. So, this bridge. It's more than just a structure. It's a symbol of hope. A continuation of Keiza's courage. Tazuna was touched. You're going to help us? Naruko smiled. At first, I didn't really care. Our mission was just to protect you until you got home. But someone like Zabuza won't back down easily. And I can't stand bullies who target those who can't defend themselves. Gato's had his time, let's see what we can do. Kazuna and Tsunami nodded in agreement. Kakashi then added, all right, team. Get some rest. We start training early tomorrow, Zabuza won't stay away forever. Dash. The next morning. Kakashi stood before Team 7. Today, we're going to practice chakra control by climbing trees. Sakura tilted her head. We already know how to do that. Kakashi chuckled. You didn't let me finish. You'll be climbing. Using only your feet. Tokiko blinked. That's even possible? Of course, Kakashi replied. I told you about this years ago. Tokiko raised an eyebrow. I might have tuned you out back then. Your lectures were a bit dry. Kakashi shrugged. Fair enough. But this exercise is vital. Most of you are wasting chakra when you don't need to. This will help you control it better, for both combat and jutsu. He formed a hand sign and calmly walked up the trunk of a tree until he reached a branch and looked down at them, upside down. Use kunai to mark your progress. A running start helps. Sakura, Tokiko, and Sasuke picked their trees. Tokiko managed to get higher than Sasuke, while Sakura made it halfway up hers. Kakashi turned to Naruko. When did you learn this? Naruko replied, if I can walk on water, you think I haven't climbed a tree by now? Besides, who was the other instructor we were assigned to? Naruko summoned her sword, Sky Splitter, and stabbed it into the ground. Forming a hand seal, she called out, Shadow Clone Technique. A clone appeared and transformed into a replica of Zabuza, complete with his large blade. Time to train, Naruko said, lifting the sword and beginning mock combat with the clone, while the others continued practicing their exercise. Naruko understood Zabuza's style well, he preferred overwhelming force and would try to exhaust his opponent. Though Naruko wasn't as physically strong, her chakra reserves were immense. Still, she hadn't fully unlocked her unique energy to its maximum. Hey, Naruko, Sasuke shouted. Explain how this works, and give me that sword. Naruko grunted through her sparring. Focus your chakra calmly. And as for the sword, it's not up for borrowing. Tokiko snorted with laughter, nearly slipping from her tree, while Sakura snapped, apologized to Sasuke-kun. He's way ahead of you. Naruko paused and glanced at her. Do you want me to break your spirit like someone criticizing your mother would? Sakura froze under Naruko's intense stare, her confidence faltering. Then we understand each other, Naruko added, resuming her training. Eventually, Tokiko grasped the trick and started progressing quickly. Sasuke grew increasingly frustrated, until Kakashi promised to give him additional guidance. Dash. The following day, Naruko was assigned to help Tazuna with construction, and since Sakura had completed the tree exercise, she joined as well. While Sakura yawned and rested, Naruko summoned multiple clones to assist with the heavy lifting. "So where are the others?" Sakura asked. "Still climbing trees. You managed it on the first day. I already knew how. You're really strong for your age." Naruko replied modestly, "It took me 3 days when I first tried it on a different mission. You just have less chakra to manage. I have enough to match 2 Kakashis." She passed a beam to a worker as a man named Jaichi approached Tazuna. "Tazuna. I want to resign." "Resign? Why?" Tazuna asked, concerned. "We're so close, 2 days at most. I can't risk my family's safety." Naruko stepped forward. "You mean you're afraid to take a stand for your village?" Jaichi looked away as Naruko continued, "Then go be with your family. But Keiza believed in this island and its people. I think he would be disappointed to see how easily that courage has faded." Jaichi frowned. "Don't bring Keiza into this." Naruko calmly responded, "Why not? What will you do about it? Deep down, you know I'm right." Jaichi tensed. "Maybe I am scared. But Keiza wouldn't want his name used to shame others. Say it again, and I'll." Naruko interrupted gently, "Where was that courage when he needed support most? Tazuna is putting everything on the line, not just for his family, but for all of you. Can't you do the same? Don't you want to bring joy and peace back to the children here?" Jaichi looked up, stunned to see a tear roll down Naruko's cheek. "When I see them, I see myself. Alone, hungry, forgotten. I had to fight just to be acknowledged. I won't let them grow up that way. So ask yourself, are you going to protect them? Or let fear decide their future?" Jaichi's eyes widened. "No. I won't let that happen. Thank you, young one." He returned to work with renewed purpose. Tazuna smiled. "You have a gift, Naruko. You could be a diplomat someday." Naruko chuckled. "Maybe. For some reason, I've always been able to help people find their spark again." Tazuna nodded. "Thanks to you, we might even finish tomorrow." "If we don't, stop all work on Friday," Naruko advised. "Zabuza could show up, and the bridge might need a bit of adjusting afterward." "Understood." As the clock struck 2, Naruko called out, "Lunchtime." Tazuna announced to the crew, "All right, break time. Same schedule later." As the workers dispersed, Tazuna prepared to go to the market, but Naruko stopped him. "Let's head home. I've got it covered." "You have supplies?" he asked. Naruko tapped a scroll pouch on her leg. "Half my storage from home. Didn't expect to need it, but I came prepared." Tazuna grinned. "You're something else, Naruko." Naruko smiled. "Also, that's not my real name. It's a code. My real name is Naruko X, I only share that with those I trust." "Maelstrom, huh? That name fits you perfectly." Naruko grinned. "Let's go, old man." "Hey, I'm not that old." "You're over 50. That counts." They both laughed as they walked home, completely forgetting about Sakura, who had dozed off under a tree. She woke up 15 minutes later and hurried to catch up. Time skip, 1 day later, evening. Tokiko and Sasuke had just finished their training for the day. Meanwhile, Inari, who had been unusually quiet, looked toward them with a disapproving glare. His gaze lingered especially on Naruko. Finally, unable to hold back his feelings, he shouted. "Why do you all try so hard? It doesn't matter how much you train, people like you can't stand up to Gato's men. You can say all the hopeful things you want, but in the end, those with less power always get left behind." Naruko stood up calmly and replied, "You shouldn't speak as though you know what everyone's been through, Inari. People can experience all kinds of hardship." Inari shot back, "You don't understand anything about this place, or about me. You're always smiling and hanging out with your friends like everything is perfect. What do you know about how hard life can get?" Anko whispered under her breath, "Oh no. He really shouldn't have said that." The room grew quiet. A low, humorless laugh escaped Naruko's lips, soft at first, then growing louder. Her expression didn't match the sound. There was no joy in it. "Really? I don't know anything about hardship?" she said with a distant look in her eyes. "That's actually kind of funny." She turned to Inari, voice calm but firm. "Let me tell you a story, Inari. On my 5th birthday, do you know what kind of presents I received? Go on, take a guess." Inari blinked. Toys?" Naruko shook her head. No toys. Nothing at all. Just isolation. My village didn't exactly treat me kindly. Most people avoided me, some even treated me harshly. I was alone. Inari stared at her in disbelief. Why, you're just making that up. Naruko gently pulled down her collar to show a faded mark. This one? From a councilwoman who blamed me for things I didn't understand at the time. And this one? She lifted her shirt slightly to reveal another, older scar. Came from a situation I'd rather not repeat. But I kept these. As reminders. Everyone in the room looked at her in shock. Even Kakashi said nothing. I was on my own for years, she said quietly. I didn't have parents to run to. I didn't have friends to cry with. I learned how to be strong when no one believed in me. Inari's voice cracked. I didn't know. Naruko approached and lightly touched his forehead. Let me show you. Her technique gently shared flashes of her memories, just enough for Inari to understand. The boy gasped and stumbled back in shock. He turned, eyes wide, and looked at Kakashi. You were there. You were the one in the mask. Weren't you? Tsunami stepped forward. Inari, enough. Don't shout at Kakashi-san. No. He was there. He saw what happened. Kazuna frowned. Is that true, Kakashi? Kakashi hesitated. I've never intentionally caused Naruko harm. If anything happened in the past, I wasn't aware of the full situation. Tokiko spoke softly. He's not lying. I was 6 at the time. I remember Naruko being chased by some villagers. She came to school with bruises on her face. Kakashi lowered his gaze. Kazuna clenched his fists, but Naruko gently placed a hand on his shoulder. It's all right. He's not worth your anger, she said calmly. But he caused you so much pain, Kazuna muttered. Naruko nodded. I know. That's why I've already chosen to be better, not bitter. I may not like him, but I won't let that turn me into someone I'm not. With that, she turned and walked away from the table, followed by Kazuna, Tsunami, Inari, and Tokiko. Only Kakashi, Sasuke, and Sakura remained in the room. Sasuke turned to Sakura. Leave us. I need to speak with Kakashi-sensei. Without hesitation, Sakura walked upstairs. Sasuke leaned forward. I know someone close to Naruko. Someone she would do anything to protect. If I give you her name and information about her, you'll train me in everything you know. That way, I can reach my own goals. Kakashi raised an eyebrow. And what's your other request? I want to get closer to Tokiko, Sasuke said confidently. I need your help with that. Kakashi closed his eye for a long moment, then opened it slowly. Very well. I'll do what I can to support your training. As for Tokiko, I can only introduce you. You'll have to earn her trust yourself. Sasuke nodded. Her name is Ayane Uchiha. She's a distant cousin and a talented Jonin. She specializes in ninjutsu, genjutsu, and swordplay, but her hand-to-hand combat still needs work. She's currently watching over a child adopted by my mother. That's when she's most vulnerable. Kakashi nodded slightly. Understood. We'll continue this once we return to the village. For now, we focus on the mission. Next morning. Tokiko came downstairs looking visibly annoyed. She had run into Sasuke in the hallway earlier, and he had tried to charm her, without much grace. In response, she had delivered a well-placed reminder to respect boundaries, much to Sakura's hidden disappointment and Naruko's quiet amusement. Good morning, Tsunami-san. Where is everyone? She asked. Tsunami smiled gently. Everyone's already left. Naruko is still resting upstairs. She stayed up late last night comforting Inari and telling him about her closest friends. Friends? Tokiko asked, surprised. She keeps them close to her heart but doesn't speak of them often. She has little trust in the village, and I don't blame her, Tsunami replied. Tokiko sighed. It hurts more than you know. I always thought of Kakashi-sensei like an older brother. After their talk, Tokiko stepped outside and was greeted by a scowling Sakura, a clearly uncomfortable Sasuke, and an amused Kazuna. Kakashi, as always, had his face buried in a book. Let's go. Naruko will stay behind and protect your family, Kakashi announced to Kazuna. Humph, you said that last time, and things didn't go so well, remember? Kazuna responded with a smirk. Kakashi narrowed his eyes. It won't happen again. The team, along with Kazuna, headed toward the bridge. Naruko awoke shortly after and walked downstairs. Tsunami smiled. Ah, you're up. Your team left for the bridge. Your sensei asked that you stay and help guard us. Naruko nodded and grabbed her cloak. Well, he finally made a reasonable decision. I'll stay alert. Let me know if anything seems off. With a nod to Tsunami, she returned upstairs. Tsunami blushed lightly at how respectfully Naruko had addressed her, then turned back to her work and called Inari over to help. On the bridge. Team 7 and Anko arrived at the bridge to find Zabuza and a mysterious figure in a mask. Where's the young one? Zabuza asked. Kakashi and Sasuke stepped forward. She stayed behind to protect the village. You'll deal with us instead. Zabuza smirked. Fine. Let's see what you've learned. Dear YouTube family. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, it really helps the channel grow. Thanks for being part of the journey. Until next time, stay curious. Anime Octopus.